Okay. Good day, all. Manoj, hello. Ruthless, thank you very much. Online, good morning. Mojo, hello. Wow. Finally fixed his sleep schedule. Nice. That's good. Satisfactory will do that to you, right? Hope everyone had a great weekend. How's it going? Okay. So, well, I would have joined your stream, but Satisfactory is one of the games that I get addicted to, so I didn't watch it. Sorry. Um, I can't get involved in games like that. I have to be careful because even Gran Turismo is kind of holding me right this second to the point where I'm like, I kind of want to play, but I can at least put that down and do stuff if I can get over this blinking hump with fragments. So today I want to get the um no, it's Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo. I'm looking for a TV to put up that isn't too expensive that I can get past my wife. Um, Localhost 4200. Let's bring that up. Start Bearview up. Yeah, this weekend I got 35 daily A races on Gran Turismo in and never got a podium. Well, I got a second. Second was the best I got. But never won a race. But I'm enjoying getting back into that game. I said hello to everybody, right? Yeah. So we're gonna start the week trying to get these filters working. Is the goal. So we're gonna start with a filter. We're not gonna start with all the filters. So we're gonna have the show completed, right? So by default, we're gonna hide completed. So let's mark one as completed afterwards. But we're gonna show we want to check this box and have the filtering change. That's the goal. Um, to do that, what I'm looking at is using GraphQL fragments. So the way this is going to work is right now everything's one big query. What I can do is I can use a fragment and replace all of the stuff that's repeated between these two and make, a composable query. But then I can also change the status out and put a status in the other one. So I don't have to do that. I can't do this. I was trying this and trying to, because you can do um, fetch planning items. You can do, filter something like that and pass it in, but it doesn't do where, but it doesn't like that, right? Um, I don't think it likes that anyway. Hold on. Pretty sure it doesn't like that. That's not included yet. So yeah. So um, yeah. Yeah, because that's not no, I can't do it that way. That's not known to GraphQL. That's why that's wrong. Okay, but either way, um, this data ordering doesn't really matter because everything gets sorted anyway and grouped. But I can't do this, so I tried, and as an object, it just puts object object, obviously. And then as a JSON, this isn't JSON, so it doesn't get I can't just join it as a string. So we do that. So next idea, use fragments so that I can assemble the query and then add on the extra piece I need. Right. So I can do the where when I'm filtering, and yeah. So what I was looking at is GraphQL fragments. Afternoon, Mr. Jones. How are you? Now, what I can't get my head around quite is this syntax. Because obviously that's like that, but I'm not extending planning item service in any way. Property fragment does not exist on type of planning item service. That's fine. So what I did initially, so what I could do is export default planning item fields. What would it be? Export const. But what I'm trying to get my head around is how to construct this. I could do it that way, right? GQL, remove that. Let's try it that way. So then over here, we do, how do we do this? Because essentially what we'll do, hold on. That's not GraphQL's. So you may be able to do that. Hey Delta, how's it going? Fragment on comment. Because so what this does is it defines on planning item and then here's the fields. So what I should be able to do is compose the fragment planning item fragment on. Now, yeah. I get it. Okay. So what this does is it includes um it includes default planning item fields. Right? So that gives me the fragment, and now I can replace pretty much all of that, right? No, that's not everything, is it? That's too much. I've taken, let's move this. Let's take that. Make that the default. Right. So then we cut that out. And we do default planning item fields. And then we do that's the planning item fragment. That's that. So then we can remove that, and I'll see what I've done wrong there. Okay, that was email. So you can see that what I'm trying to do is get to a smaller query, because on this one I'm going to change. I'm going to do a different query based upon I will be right back. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this out, and we'll make this a let so we'll do because what does that return? That not returning that return. That's right. A second. Yeah, that works. Let's take that out. Essentially, what I want to do, and as I grow with GraphQL here, I'm going to learn different ways of doing this. I'm going to figure out, oh, that I was doing wrong. I'm still trying to figure my way around so many different things here that this is probably not ideal, but fragments from an organization perspective do make a little more sense to try and break up those large queries out of here, and I can compose them or tidy them up. Sorry, the BRB was I had coffee. So what I would need to do here now is I can either do a different query based upon the status. Actually, I can do it this way. So we can do that. Or that, right? I can get rid of that one. Delete anyway. Yeah, that's fine. And then what we can do is, where does it go now? Ah, yeah, that's why. Because the variables would be fed in there, I think. Yeah, the variables would get fed in there, which is not the right way of doing that one. That doesn't matter, does it? I don't need this to be so complicated. If I do it, if I go back to that way. So if I remove that, put that in there, right? Then do variables, filter is, and then we just need to do that. Oh, let filter equals show completed. So now we're just going to use an array. So filter is filter. That's fine. All planning items. Filter is a string. And then we do where. That'll work. Hey Ed, how you doing? I'm going well today, I think. Okay. Cannot find module, planning out filter, that's fine, because that's that. Okay. So challenge number one, the data is loading. So our query here right? So we do have this array. So it does say in filter. So let's see if we are getting stuff, right? So now what we should be able to do is see. Yeah, there you go. Status in. Weird way of doing it, but yeah. Check the fetch XHR for better context. Oh, for narrowing it, yeah. Yeah. Or for better console. I normally have Apollo, but Apollo doesn't seem to work. Oh no, hold on. Yeah. Still learning my way through these tools. So Apollo is GraphQL dev tools inside here. Redux is for if I'm using NGRX. By the way, let's test. So we actually need to stop running that and start the full application because we need to be able to change one of them to completed. Wonder if I do this solidly for a couple of years because throughout my career, um my front end experience has not been. It's been how do I say it? Fractured, broken? No, I've either been doing a lot or very little for long periods of time. So um so many different things to learn, so many things to do. Never use GraphQL. Is it better than REST API? Um, it's different. Like for what I'm doing here. So the way this works is when I come into this screen, I make a query and it gives me a list of the planning items. I use the same GraphQL. I don't use the same GraphQL API, but I use the same style syntax to go and load up an item. I can ask for more or less of this. I can flex based upon the client what information I'm doing, what I'm asking for, without actually changing anything to do with the API. I don't have to create an API endpoint for, fetch the list versus fetch the detail. I can actually pull the same information from both. It's doing the joins based upon what I'm asking for as well. So it's not wasteful to that point. Terminal, console, that's what I want. So you see the query here is very minimal, but then if I ask for more data, I will get more data without having to change any API endpoints, etc. So there's some clear benefits there. The challenges I've found, so the way this system is designed, I'm building it for the view. So I'm building it for the GraphQL case. In the past, I've tried to use GraphQL with the context that we use to update, and that's never worked for me. So this application is designed to support it's designed to support this, I suppose. Where when I update something, it gets updated. When I want to view it, I've got a database that's specifically built for this query purpose, so it can be optimized and stuff. Now I'm hiding certain fields. I'm able to control that, so I don't expose the entire schema. So I guess I'm still learning my way through it, but I like it. It does prevent me from just having to create an API here. Yeah, yeah. This is the architecture. So everything goes through gateway. The application is broken up into components. They're not microservices. It's more modular monolith. So when we update a planning item, it goes through the planning item API, it gets written to the planning item database, publishes an event, an integration event, which Kafka handles. We then listen to those those events from various sources. So the view listens to that event and consumes the current data of the planning item. The changes listens to that event and calculates the difference between the last time it saw this object and now. Pipeline listens to this event coming back when this publishes another event back and enriches the changes. And the notifications you subscribe to things like I want to be told when this item changes, right? Um, Now, if this item changes by somebody else, I'll get a notification in here right now to tell me that that item was changed. So, yeah. So heavily leaning into Kafka. We've got some mass transit, some service bus stuff going on as well. Communications, if emails are sent, etc., they get pushed out there. That's a command. So when you register a new user, they get an email inviting them to register, etc. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Yeah, if you have any specific questions or concerns or ideas about what I'm doing, I'm more than happy to listen. Still starting to learn Angular. I have a very long road ahead. Well, it's a fun road for the most part. Okay, so what we need to do now is mark one as completed. So let's mark inbox behavior. The inbox just serves as a tool to notify. Let's mark this one as completed. It's time. There you go. Okay, so that's completed. Hey, Rumbling Geek. Good afternoon. How's it going? So what I need to do now is toggle that. Well, I've been a developer for 5 years working with Spring, Java, but at work I don't get to do these kind of tasks. Yeah. And that's why I find projects that I have some passion around on the side. Keeps me focused, keeps me moving forward. Um, I can have fun with them. I can use technologies. If I get it wrong, there's no financial burden, right? Um, whether it be this, whether it be games library stuff, um, you know, having fun with what you're doing is very important to learning as well. Um, yeah, and I think it's when I first started, or within my first 5 years, I saw the senior developers and they were all set in their ways, couldn't, yeah, do it this way. It's fine. It's fine. Do it this way. I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for years. Um, I never wanted to be that way. I didn't want to, when I got to, I've been doing this for decades. I didn't want to be that way. I wanted to be still learning, still growing, still doing cool stuff. And so far I've achieved that, I think. Yeah. It's Monday. Odd things happening. The weekend went too quickly. I concur. The weekend did go too quickly. I amassed a big bundle of wires. I have a load of boxes that I have to sort the wires into, but then sat down and played Gran Turismo instead. And left the box of wires. Okay, so we need to, when we change this, toggle so that we show the screen. and a day to waste chill. 2 days to geek on my own things and a day for family. Yeah. Yep. So what we're gonna do is we have the where did I put the view? This the structure of this is telling me that I need to reorganize it. Um so and the reason being I'm struggling to figure out where I'm going. Now that some of it comes down to, oh well that's there, but I'm not seeing a directory and thinking, oh that's relative to here yet. So I need to do some organizing or I need to do some thinking about how I want code to sit in the structure because it's not making much sense. So we put the checkbox there and we did it on show completed there. Can you buy into an input? I have a lean poker event this week, so technically only working 3 days. Nice. So show uncompleted change. Oh, so we actually are doing it. In theory. Event show completed. True. So we not. Oh, are we doing the wrong? Are we sending the wrong thing? Front end is what? Yeah, this is Angular. Yeah, this is all Angular. Yeah. Um, Angular mainly because it's something I am more comfortable with overall. I wouldn't say good, but I would say comfortable. Um, we have done some Blazor on stream before, and I've tinkered with other technologies, but Angular is the one I keep coming back to because it's the one I'm like most familiar with getting started. And yeah, okay, so we need to go to. This is 18. Yeah. Uh, the beauty of being able to, well, of building your your own software is you can keep it as up to date as possible because if it breaks, um, oh, modular Angular, modular and standalone a little bit. So I've created modules for planning, etc., but then everything else, there's all these standalone components outside. Still trying to get my head wrapped around because the default is now standalone, or it will be in Angular 19, but still trying to get my head wrapped around why I'm doing certain things. Um, Again, I only learn. I tend to learn what I need to learn at the time I need it, and everything else is just kind of like noise. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Modules that I'm comfortable with, the module concept. Okay, standalone. Yeah, I get it. It doesn't have a module. It can be its own thing. So for reusability, the shared components, they're standalone. But I'll refine my understanding later once I've got the hang of this. So what is going wrong there? So what we're going to do, um, I don't know of any good. Yeah, sure, you can try and update. An ad is about to start in 3 minutes, by the way. I don't know if it tells the stream that now anyway. Um, So we need that workflow feels janky. Planning items, filter, string. Filter completed. And then this does where. Oh, hold on. I've got an idea. No, I did it. Status in filter. That's working. Ah, that's the. Hold on. In progress. What am I filtering on there? We probably should understand that part, right? I'm like tapping away and like, so it's got to be that. So these have to be. We'll come back around and let's test it first. Ready for planning. Ready for planing. We're going to carpentry. There you go. In progress. What does that expression mean? Which one? Here? Oh, in this code? I'm just using a ternary operator to give me the array of. So this is completed or preparing. So I'm just giving it an array of values. Ready for planning. In progress. So based upon whether I've checked it or not, I only want to show completed versus yeah. But actually, in reality, it's this, and then isn't there a cleaner way of doing this? No, that's probably better. I want to show, all three all the time, except if I have show completed checked, I want to include completed as a filter. Did our completed one actually make it through? Yeah, our completed one made it through. So it went through all the parts. So now I need to toggle. the network. I just want to prove that the network call is getting made. No network call happens. Modules, planning, stores, services, planning item service. Well, the good news is our fragment is working fine. That's that's a good step forward. Again, this is the sort of thing that's going to trip you up, because if you've not done this before, this is why you talk about things before you develop them, because this simple checkbox, right, has actually taken me several more hours than actually implementing the feature to get the data in the background anyway. To get the status field in there took less time than showing the checkbox right this second. Now, mainly that's because I'm still kind of getting my head around how to do this sort of stuff, but also just learning how to do these pieces, getting the chatbots to fire. So the issue is, when I check the box, planning items, detail, no, table. So this checkbox triggers show completed change. This does not actually load. Planning item store, load all. That's why. Is current. So this is to try and prevent me this is so that when I'm navigating back and forth, I don't reload the data every time. Kind of a caching, because the actual store is set to, because if I do, if I use the fetch policy, if I got GraphQL there, let me explain that further. I update something. I update it in the store immediately on the client once I've confirmed that it's got to the server. That means that the store contains a version, but not a confirmed version of that data. If I then turn around and load the data, I'm going to load from the view, but that information might not have made it to this view yet. So I'm going to update the data as it was, not as it is now. So I want to avoid unnecessary loads there. So these two these two concepts might actually conflict with each other quite badly. Because what I'm doing is I'm benefiting from eventual consistency with this system, but over here, I kind of need the data to look correct. Because the user doesn't want to have to wait. So the idea would be that when this information gets there, it says, by the way, here's your information. You're now current again. Like push the data that's changed down to the clients that care about it. Now, to get around this, what I can do is I can introduce a method on the store that allows me to set the refresh status, like invalidate the refresh status, so the load will go through, right? So if I say no, you're not current, it'll go and this will force a load. What I'm thinking here is there's probably some concepts, there's some ideas that I'm not getting to yet in terms of how I'm going to use the data, because I've got now conflicting methods, or conflicting requirements. I'm filtering from the server side, whereas the client side, in theory, can do exactly what I'm asking it to do by just not showing. Um, but if I remove this now, what will happen is if I update something, let's say I update a field here, I'll navigate back and forth when I go to load it again, even though this one says like preparing, then here it will still say whatever status it was before, right? So if I go ready for planning now, right, you see how that changes immediately. If I click away and then back in, that still says ready for planning. Now that's not because the server hasn't actually updated that yet and got down potentially, so that when I come back now, the client doesn't know. Um, so the client is set now as current, so that the it doesn't make that request. The idea would be that the backend would invalidate it and say, by the way, you need to load some data now. But again, that challenge comes from, if you do it that way, then one piece of data updating will invalidate other data. So I've got to get my head around the use cases and understand, where do I actually want to deal with this data? Why doesn't the complete one doesn't show because of that? But um, if I invalidate this, then the application won't work correctly, or won't even work remotely correctly right now. So with methods, invalidate. Not quite that simple, is it? Pan store, patch state. Yeah, it's just patch state. Is current. So then the problem there is now this has knowledge that I don't want it to, not this one. This has knowledge that I don't want it to have. Because now I can do invalidate. Oh, they don't chain. See, that'll probably work now. Yeah. Now that's triggering a query, right? but it's wrong. Right? Because my design is incorrect. And what I'm going to get into here is I'm going to just come down, I'm going to get into a pattern of chasing the next problem and fixing the problem that I see every time, to the point where the behavior of the client is just not going to work. So that's working. That's now working as intended. Now again, if I update something and move away and come back, it'll work fine. But if I check this box in between, that's going to then go, no. If I move away and come back, see completed still shows, but show completed is still off because I'm not tracking that state. And what this is an example of me not thinking through the wider ramifications of doing what I'm trying to do here. And you can't predict everything, right? You can't predict everything. It's not going to work that way. But so what we need is everything is loaded from the server. Then when I update something, when I update something, I have to hold it locally, or that item has to go into some sort of pending state, right? Because I have to say, okay, well, the server's got a version of this. You can't touch this thing, which is bad. The idea of this is very much so that I can change anything I want about this thing. It will send off the changes. It will commit the changes. Those changes will eventually trickle back down, and the client will get to see them next time it loads, or if someone else logs in and sees it, etc. If I make it so that every time I navigate to this screen or every time I click on something, right now this is being loaded every single time. So this is a server call no matter what, every single time. And that's bad because it means that if I do change one of these things, like if I change, let's change this one, let's change the review date of this one to September 19th, right? Now I go back here and now I click here. That's changed because I'm holding the local data and all I'm doing is I'm merging in the server data. I'm making the request, but I'm determining what changed, I think, on that one. Name service, no, not service, store, query, load detail, yeah. So I patch the state. Yeah. Should patch state. If current equals null. Yeah, so if basically this one is if I know better because my last updated is actually newer than the server last updated that came back, ignore the data. So I'm making a request there incorrectly. So I've got to come up with some better understanding of data access patterns here. Or do I mean that in that way? I'd be interested to know if anyone who's watching does have this sort of experience and what challenges you faced. Where did you struggle? Are you seeing something now that I'm doing that you're like, oh, holy, Mr. Anhorn, thank you very much for 5 years. Goes well. How are you doing? Not bad. Sometimes that's good. For a Monday especially. um so obviously that hides that. Now I navigate away, come back. Now it's hidden. So but it's not working. So again, this one checkbox is more work than adding the feature for status. So caching is kind of what I'm doing. Um, I think that what I need to do is not do this filter on the I think I need to not do it against the server. I mean, it's not harmful to have it. I can remove the filtering code. But I think the filtering, this is bad. This is really bad because that's exposing um, a stateful detail in the store that I intend to use in the store to the other side of things. So that's not good. That can't happen. Right? Which navigation were there? Yeah, that's a bad thing. We're not doing that one. So let's remove that method. That being said, I still need something, right? So what if and by the way, this is one of the benefits of using GraphQL here because I don't need to change the API now, right? I haven't actually created anything that's not undoable, right? Because all I do here is I remove this, right? No, that's one. I can't remove that one. I remove this. I remove that. And now everything is back to normal, right? The fragment stuff is still valid. Remove that. Remove that. And now remove that. From the store side of things, remove that. Now this still stays there. Load all still stays there. No. I don't think it does. Because I don't think we'd use load all for that. What we do is in here, remove this. And on the store, we've computed this dot store. We have it right here. We can do it. Dot items with review window. Dot filter. F goes to F dot status. Now, so we have a status. Did I move that to shared? Pipes. Statuses. Oh, I think ultimately I'm going to store the state of the completed checkbox as well. And I think that kind of goes with the store, because then if you check it one place, then if you go to a different screen that is showing the same list, then the completed would carry. You won't want to have to keep checking that. But what I'm trying to do here is just kind of figure out the proof of concept, right? So again, it's the same thing. Let filter equal in progress, ready for planning. Um, um, preparing. If event dot checked, we don't even need the boolean now. Filter dot push, and then it's filter dot index of f false. And then, but by default, So the screen is loaded off items with a review window, right? So it's this property, this computed property off of the actual store. So that's actually what's loaded the data. So that being said, then that needs to be slightly different, doesn't it? This is going to be items planning item. Set that there. Items review window then. Oh. That has to be any. It has to be any because the that computed field actually adds on the review window, so that the review window, so it's still planning item based. It just kind of creates a dynamic, an object based off that item. So then this dot items. So the filtering is working, except we need, the problem is there that count's going to be wildly wrong as well. I'm probably calling too many things as well here. Right, too many methods. Hello, Loki. You okay? Seeing you in a hoodie has me excited for hoodie season. This is my favorite one. Oh, my current favorite one. The sleeves are falling apart. I have certain style of like hoodie that I really like, and every time it comes up on that season, my wife is madly hunting for new ones for me. Uh, Features, plan items query. So does it look like I can pass in an argument here? Unless I can. No, that's just a name. So I could do with methods. Hello, Loki. You okay? You can say hello? You want to say hello? Yeah? Hello, bud. Hello, bud. Yeah? You good boy? You okay? So if we do with methods store, then we do so you see we push into the object here. We push on the review window and the review window priority. That's kind of a new version of the planning item. We're going to do with methods filtered. Show completed Boolean. That'll work. He says with confidence. Does not exist. No. Because this doesn't know about the actual store. So this is not a thing. Planning item store. That seems uh, right. I can't figure out why that needs so the problem is that it doesn't know that this is the store that it's extending. So this store here just has a request status, an entity map. So it just knows it's a feature. So it doesn't know that this exists here. Right. Yeah, because it's the same thing, right? You can have as many of these as you want, by the way. I'm not breaking anything by doing this. I'm just trying to make it a little. You can extend features and compose stores for signal for uh, NGRX signals. So I can't use the computed because I can't pass values to computed fields. Angle 18 pass values to computed field GRX signal store. Another ad coming up in 3 minutes. See, defining computed signals with computed books filter. I can. If I do it at the top level, is that what that's telling me? Yeah, that's what that's telling me, isn't it? So that's saying I can do it up here. So I can do that. What is filter? Filter. With computed books filter. Here's my challenge. Is filter an actual object, or is filter what tells me the filter? Oh, here you go. It's on the state. It's a defined state. Oh, get my head around this one day. So each one of these defines, see the state here with state. So my state here is a combination of a refresh, the request status, with entities. So I can, in theory, do with state. Let's do. And I know I'm in a complete mess with this code right this second, but show completed. So what we do here, you basically do this. We then have, so we can do with show. Go back around to that one in a second. That would be, so we have states. Not completed though, that's the problem. Item status, state. Data state. Right. So what this is going to be, yeah, the method. That's the one. Set current. Okay, that's how I did it. So you export type item status state. That's a Boolean. I can't default it. It's a type. Yeah. And then over here with state, item status, state, show completed. And then we have with methods, Something like that. Probably could have overridden this and done this multiple times. With computed. I don't think I need computed, but we'll come back around that again. Again, learning as I go. With methods. Oh, that's why. With methods. Show completed. So that's not modifying the state. That's the problem. That's not helpful. That's not doing what, because that's not doing anything there. Patch state store show completed. So that will toggle that now. So now over here, we can do with show completed feature, right? Oh, with requests, with item status feature. And now, what is this one? This is show completed. So now this one is if this is what it's going to say show completed. Why is show completed here? It's a Boolean. So it adds that method in. That's not what I want. I'm not passing that in there. I'm overcomplicating this, by the way. I am very much overcomplicating this just to stumble through and learn the things I need to learn. The good news is it is making sense. The bad news is it's just going to take me a long time to get my head around these pieces. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to add a state into the store to track the completed piece. And when I toggle it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle that state rather than tell the store to do anything. So the change of state will make the store react, and the data that's all got hooked up with signals will respond accordingly. So this computed field, when I toggle the state, should change how this is displayed, because it will all get recalculated, is my understanding. So when I toggle the state, this will update and the screen will update as in turn, because everything's based off the signals there. That is the theory. We will get there though. So I don't want so now my store will have a method on it. So from a design perspective, what this is going to look like is over here now, instead of all this stuff, right? this is going to be that. And that will tell the store how to do what it's doing. So then this can go away, this can go away, and this can go back to being store.items with review window, right? Because now that method, that computed method or computed property, whatever we want to call it, will be changed when I update the state. It should trigger, and now it's transparent to the actual user how it's being dealt with. Oh, it's always transparent to the user. It's a silly statement. But if you have questions about what I'm doing, even though I have questions about what I'm doing, if you have thoughts or opinions on what I'm doing, you're more than welcome to join in. This is a challenge for me. What I am trying to grow with. So that will give me show completed, which will change the state of this store. So now I need to know I think I've got a naming conflict here. I think should include completed. Right, let's go with that. Let's see if that breaks anything. There we go. So that's that. Now we're patching the state. There we go. So now over here, we have our value for that. So now if, which should be a Boolean. Yeah, if should include completed. Now we know what we're doing. So let filter equals in progress. We've typed this a few times now. No, preparing. Ready for planning. Right. And then what we'll do here is dot filter. So now we'll only include the statuses there. Ta-da! We navigate away. Okay, now we should be able to. This box is set based upon this Boolean. And this dot show completed equals store dot should include completed. There you go. So we're now setting the value of that based upon the store. So the store is tracking that. So if I was to go to a different screen, it would also include completed using the same store. So that prevents me from doing server-side filtering, which means that the client is handling all the things. So still not perfect. It's still less than ideal, but it does do what we need it to do for right now. So the completed status is included. And we should be able to mark something else as completed. And now, didn't I move? I thought I moved this to. Now, in reality, we need rules. Oh, that didn't move. Yeah, it did. There you go. In reality, we have some rules we need to deal with as well, which is that when it is completed, the review date shouldn't actually be set. So there's a lot of things there to tweak. But I should be able to go here and come back. Right. Hide the completed. There we go. There we go. So it's not ideal. It still has downsides. Good news, I clearly understand a little bit of the signal store stuff to the point where I'm understanding how to get build the features out, etc., etc. So I've clearly got some growth there. The toggle, this calculates every time I do that, so it's doing what it needs to do. Mike Harrington, hello. What DSA would you consider crucial for junior mid-level full stack devs? I am not a big fan of chasing down stuff like that. What role are you doing, or are you going for a role and that is the challenge? The industries that I work in, I don't get to do many clean cut how would I put it? How do I say this? There's very few times in my career where I've said, "Oh, well, that's this. Oh, this structure. This makes sense. This is the best thing." Job interview prep for backend full stack Java Spring roles. Okay, so junior mid level. So you've got some years experience under your belt. I mean, I'd focus more on common patterns with Spring, etc. I'd focus more on here's how you work with auth. Here's how you work with these things. Here's some good practices that I've found, or some things that I've found don't work, some challenges, etc. Be prepared to answer questions like that. And again, it depends on what sort of industry you're trying to aim at. If it's a highly technical uh, industry, then you might need to do some more prep for specific data structures, etc. I've long since moved away from doing things like, solve this this small problem, you know, use whatever algorithms. I've only been given a few of them in my entire career hunting for jobs. Which sort method is best, etc. But I wouldn't go chasing after them. I'd focus more on practical application of using the technologies that you actually are going for. Radio Patrick, it's going okay. How about you? How's things? Okay, bud. Oh, look. Sister outside digging some holes. Not too bad. Just eating breakfast and looking at job apps. Yeah. Um, but yeah, Michael, I'm a big fan of being, looking at things like, okay, how do you use a database? What techniques have you got available for accessing the database? Um, how might you write a query? Things that are related to how you're going to use the actual language. Um, what else would I focus on? Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't consider any data structures or algorithms crucial. Um, because again, most organizations are focused on, can you do the job? Can you work with the language? Things like data structures and stuff, you can learn in place as you need, relevant to the industry you're working in. Specific algorithms, again, they're very industry specific if they're implemented, or they're implemented so abstractly that, you know, you probably don't want to be in that code base. Okay. So we're kind of getting there. So the one thing that stands out to me with signal stores is um, composability. You can actually break the features up into many different pieces, have the relevant components and methods around each piece, and then just add the store together. It's a very broad topic and I don't give you as much context as I'd like. I mean, inexperience with job hunting in general. I've been learning for soon to be 2 years on my own, and will be moving back to the States early next year. So I want to prepare for job hunting. Thanks for the response. No worries. I mean, um, just keep practicing. Just keep like working on your skill set and building software. I think we put a lot of focus on like the needing to know certain things. I've told this story before, but I once got an interview where they said you can't use um, you can't use Google. Go off and do this algorithm. And I struggled through because it's not something I practiced. It's not something I've done before. And they reached out afterwards and said, "How do you think the interview went?" And I was like, "It was terrible. That was a terrible example. What developer doesn't use Google in whatever year it was? Like, it was BS." So no, thank you. And then they called me back several years later and asked if I still wanted a job. Um, I'll second that sentiment too. I haven't run lots of interviews, but I can promise someone's leak code score doesn't matter to me at all when hiring. Having examples of complete cohesive projects to show a degree of comprehension matter a lot more to me than whether you can write code to solve a small problem in a vacuum. And you're often given the tools you need in the business you're in, um, to achieve something. Like, no one's going to say to it, especially a mid-junior, um, no one's going to say to you, "Hey, could you go and solve this complex algorithm?" Right? They're going to give you the tools, and you've got the time to learn. Um, Realistically, what you're looking for in an interview is kind of critical thinking. You're making sure that the developer can develop on their own. Um, but again, you're in a position where you're looking to get some guidance anyway, and an organization that's not going to give you that guidance is probably not one you're going to grow very much in. Um, so don't forget, you're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing you, and you are looking for the role that will suit you. And I mean, hopefully, you're in a position where you are not completely financially critical and get that job, right? But because it's easy to say you're interviewing them when you don't need the job. But again, you got to make sure you're. Yeah, it's kind of intimidating at times because I've worked on a couple of side projects and pretty much every feature that I've wanted to implement, been able to. I don't have best memory, so recalling DSA. I'm the same way. I have a terrible memory. I am very much a solve it as I come up against it. And over time, what you're doing is you're building the skill set to remember and kind of orient yourself with a task. So Angular, I don't use this all the time. Well, I have done of late. Um, but every time I come back to it, it's just like, okay, I got to figure out this again. I got to learn this again. I'm not pretending I know it all. Um, I mean, great if you can, if you have a great memory, but I would look at the industry you're going into, or the industry you're interviewing for. Look at what sort of stuff they do, right? If they are doing, if you're going into something that's like finance, then yeah, you're probably going to need a few. You probably want to look up common algorithms and stuff for trading or whatever you want to do, and try and do a little bit of practice around that to get yourself familiar. But definitely prepare for the interview in in the way you go in. So if you like, for me, I'm doing web development stuff. I don't need a lot of algorithms. I don't need a lot of data structures. Um, there's very few um, requirements for going beyond basic. Hey, here's a list of data. Here's, even if you look at Liquid Sky, right? This is a large application at this point, but it is still pretty much lists, some select queries, in terms of database, basic objects. There's nothing very complicated about anything in here. It's just a lot of it. That's my approach as well. I spend more time planning, Googling, and troubleshooting than actual coding. And you always will. This feature that I've been working on, right, just to do this little chatbots, right? Well, we've spent all this stream. I spent a couple of hours. What is that fly? Get out. I spent a couple of hours tinkering around, and yeah, it's good to keep the concepts in mind as best you can, as someone, in case someone asks. But I'd agree that definitely not critical to remember the nuts and bolts. If you go into an interview and they're like, okay, how would you solve this problem with this algorithm? Or what algorithm would you use to solve this problem? What algorithm? And you're interviewing for a job that's web development. That's a group of people that don't know how to interview for what they're actually asking for. And they're going to discount um, potentially great applicants because they're trying to put some kind of fancy protecting a protection layer around themselves by making sure that their candidates are capable of solving complex problems. Gotcha. Uh, but yeah, it's a fly is daring. I will give it that. Um, yeah. Okay. So honestly, how they answered that told me a lot about them as a person. So it didn't matter a whole lot if they get it right. It's yeah. And again, once you start interviewing, you're more than welcome to, if you're interested, there is a Discord if you want to ask any specific questions. And there's also some other great communities or great extensions, I suppose. I don't know if you've been here. I know it's on Twitch, but um, um, One Lion streams 12:30 a.m. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Monday, Wednesday, Friday. He's also an experienced .NET developer, but has a great community that don't all come in here. A lot of good experience there. And again, another Discord that is very helpful. What? No, GT7 today? No. One day I'll get the streaming set up. So that on weekends we can do some streams. I may have filled in my gaps of Gran Turismo in my library while we were playing over the weekend. Okay. So what's next? No feature is done here, right? No feature is completely signed off and completed, because again, I'm trying to evolve using this application. So again, we have this will be past due now. Starts up on games. So where are you? In progress. Starts up on games. Why aren't you loading requirements? Why aren't requirements loading? As in a daily meeting. No worries, as. Did you fix filter? Yes. We implemented it as a signal store state change. So now it's triggering and showing, but also now we can move away and come back and it's still checked. And we can uncheck it and completed shows. So it's working in so much as it immediately disappeared. That's awesome. So yeah, I was like, why is it not showing? I don't see the status. Yeah, because you just changed it. Yeah. So this is implemented. I basically implemented a signal store state component or state feature, whatever. So I now have a state to show should include completed. Have a method to patch it so I can toggle it on or off. And then in the actual computed items with review window method, which is actually get the items, I now do the filtering. What that means is in the UI, I can now go back to using this. This only matters for setting checkbox now, and then I just do on completed change, I toggle that flag, that boolean. So now show completed, true or false, toggles this, and now the screen loads. So the signals deal with everything else. So once I change that, the state changes of the store, which causes the computed methods to fire again. So now it's all client side, which again, I need to understand how I'm going to use this data in the future. Obviously, this is a lot of work for a single user. So yeah. Oh, I know I'm missing it because I'm not loading it, am I? I bet you have removed it. Store. Do you remember when I did that part with the service where I started messing around with composable pieces? Oh, fetch one. Requirements. Requirements should be there. Status of planning items. Comments by planning item. No, that's comments. Planning item by ID. Requirements. Yeah, requirements are there. Why are you not showing? Come on. Planning item by ID. That's fine. Default planning item fields. I like that I can navigate. Being that there are some new people, what I wanted to say is, although the source code for Liquid Sky is not open, right? Because open sourcing this project to this point is it's just not worth doing that at all. Even if I turn around tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm gonna call it quits. Even open sourcing at that point wouldn't benefit a lot of people because there's so much code you have to understand, so many pieces you have to understand to be able to pick it up and run with it, that it wouldn't be worth open sourcing. That being said, there are components of the application that are open source, such as the Kafka stuff, such as the mediator pieces that I've worked on. If you see something that you would like to know more about, if you would like me to dig a little further, the Discord is there. You're more than welcome to drop in the Discord and ask questions if you want to dig. If you want to ask, oh, well, I saw you do this on stream. Can you give me a bit more context? If there's a specific video you would like made on a piece of content, I don't make a lot of YouTube stuff. I stream all the streams to YouTube, but I don't make a lot of content. The reason being, I'm not trying to chase some algorithm. I'm not trying to make my millions on YouTube, right? What I'm trying to do is produce content or output the stream content that may be useful to some people. It might inspire other people. It might just be good noise, which is perfect. But if you would like to know more about a specific feature, if you think there's something that I could demonstrate in a particular video that would be useful for you, just you, right? Let me know. Let me know the sort of content you want, and I will work on a video. And put that video together and put it up on YouTube. If it's helpful to a second person, it's helpful. But that's the way I want to do YouTube videos, in terms of, I don't want to just make YouTube videos because I'm trying to make it big and get my name out there, right? So that is a genuine offer. That being said, I am out of time. I do have to head out pretty much on time today. No, Dan isn't still streaming. That'd be too easy. So don't you hate it when work gets in the way of having fun? Yeah, cheers. Have a good one. Morning, Trap. Morning, Surly. Or good day, Surly. No worries, Patrick. Thank you. I'm going to raid you over to Colonel Simba. I haven't been there before. I think I've been there once before, but let's go there. Don't forget, One Lion stream happens later on today. I'll be there later. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Mojo. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk about what comes next, and I'll fix why I'm not now seeing requirements. But yeah, no worries, Michael. Thank you very much for coming, hanging out, and appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye all.